Alright, so this video, by the title, you can see we're focusing on comparing numbers. And when we're talking about comparing numbers, we're looking at using these symbols to write that down. So sometimes you see, compare these two numbers, and you see numbers or you see decimals or whatever you see, and then you don't know what to write down. But that's what we're really looking for. And so one thing to remember is what they mean. And so we have this greater than symbol, and less than, and then equal to. So if you haven't already, please write down the symbols used for comparing numbers. You can hit pause and then come and play after you've hit that. Okay, so you've written those down. If you don't already have it, even if you know what it is, it's a good way to write it down. There's a couple of different ways that over the years I have used to help my students remember how to compare numbers, and I've used it myself to remember, and I usually have to remind my husband as well how to do it. So one of my favorite ways is the alligator method, because if you think about the alligator eating one of the numbers, it's a fun thing to draw, and that's pretty much why I like the alligator method. But the tricky part is, which number does the alligator eat, the bigger number or the smaller number? I mean, if we know alligators, they like to eat all the numbers they can. So sometimes that works for people, sometimes that doesn't. Another way to sort of remember which way the symbol should go is to look at it this way, and the bigger number opens up to the bigger side, and the smaller number is the point of the angle. So those are different ways that you may be familiar with from the past. Well, I'm going to show you a different way, because it's always good to have more than one way to remember how to do something. So this method I like to call connecting the dots. Okay, so here we have two numbers, 35 and 18, and I know you can automatically tell which one is greater and which one's smaller, but then the question is, which symbol do you put? Is it going to go that way? Is it going to go this way? Obviously they're not equal, so you're not going to put an equal sign, or you could put a not equal sign, but anyways, so 35 is the greater value, so I'm going to draw a dot on 35, two dots actually, because that's a greater value, and then just one dot on the 18, because that's the smaller value, and then we just connect those dots, and then that tells us which way the symbol should go. So that's connecting the dots. Okay, so here are two other numbers that you can try, 67 and 42. And so let's connect those dots. And so 67 is the larger number. So dot, two dots on 67, one on 42. And there we go. Okay, so here are two more to try, 85 and 91. So 91 is more than 85, so I'm going to draw both dots next to 91, only one dot next to the 85, and then they connect going that way. Obviously, if they're equal, you don't need to do that because they're just equal. So maybe that's a way that will help you. And so we're not just comparing numbers, but we can compare expressions as well. If you think about it, if you simplify an expression, you get to be able to come down to a number of some sort. Sometimes it has a variable in it, but you can compare the numbers, basically. So one way you can do it, you might have an idea of which one's greater, which one's less, just based on what we're looking at, but a definite way to make sure is to go ahead and simplify it. So if I look at 3 times 4, I know that that's 12, plus 1 is 13. Okay? And then I also know that 3 times 8 is going to be 24. So again, I can do the same thing. 24 is greater than 13, so I put the 2 dots by the 24, the 1 dot by the 13, and I connect them. So if you see something like this written, simplify it so you know which way to put the symbol, and then you can go back up into the original problem and draw your less than symbol. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and try it with this next one. Hit pause and then play and check your answers. Okay, so hopefully you've simplified it. You may have been able to figure out this without simplifying it, but let's look and see what you came up with. Okay, so when I simplify both of these, 5 times 25 is 125. 5 times 17 is 85 plus 2 for the total answer of 87. So simplified, the 125 has the greater value, so that gets the 2 dots, and the 85 gets the 1, and then they connect. So again, going back up here, if this is your original problem that you might see, you would put the 2 dots by the 5 times 25, 1 dot over here, and then you have the greater than symbol. So reading this all the way, you could say 5 times 25 is greater than 5 times 17 plus 2. Okay, so that's a way that you can use to compare numbers, the dot method. Happy comparing!